search for the missing soldiers, not 70 people as was being speculated. This is coming from the stakeholders from Konshisha local government, including the chairman himself and other stakeholders. So 6 people, not 70. 4, stakeholders were advised to refrain themselves from making inflammatory statements and allow the government and the security agencies to handle this matter. The meeting tasked traditional rulers and other stakeholders to ensure that all weapons taken from the murdered soldiers are returned unconditionally. 6, as soon as arms are returned, the State Security Council will review the situation and decide otherwise. 7, to end the lingering crisis between Ojo and Konshisha, the meeting resolved that the demarcation of the boundary between the 2 local government areas be carried out as soon as possible. 8, the meeting resolved that all those involved in the killing of the soldiers should be arrested and prosecuted.
The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, says Nigeria's victory in its battle against kidnappings, insurgency, and other related crimes is around the corner. Adeboye made this known when he paid a courtesy visit to the Kaduna State Governor, Nasiru El-Rufai, at Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, Kaduna, the state capital. The cleric told the governor that he was praying for him, Kaduna State, and the country at large. He describes the governor as a tender-hearted man whom he knew for many years, adding that many who might be criticizing him would later see the other side of the story. In his response, the governor commiserated with the Redeemed family over the recent abduction of some pastors and parishioners in the state. El-Rufai said the Redeemed Church has been a pillar of strength to a symbol of Nigeria's unity and positive force for peace and progress in the state.
We have been following the happenings in Kaduna State, particularly in recent months, and we have been deeply concerned for the inhabitants of the state, concerned for the government, and particularly concerned for you, sir. We know you have a problem that only God can solve, a problem far, far beyond the abilities of any human being. But I want to assure you, sir, victory is around the corner.
Amen. This country needs divine intervention more than at any time in its history. So we are grateful for your prayers, we are grateful for your blessings, and we will continue to ask for more.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has assured the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, that their demands will be met in 4 weeks' time. He gave his assurance when he visited the NARD headquarters in Abuja, the nation's capital. NARD President Dr. Uyilawa Okwesoyi had on April 12 asked the federal government to honor its agreement with the union, warning that should the government fail to honor its agreement in the next 4 weeks, they would be forced to declare another indefinite nationwide industrial action. But the Speaker, after listening to their demands, promised that the government is doing all within its power to ensure the doctors do not down their tools. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, assured resident doctors that their demands will be met in 4 weeks' time after visiting the Abuja Secretariat on April 13, 2021. He explained that the federal government appreciated their efforts in saving lives and the importance of the profession and is doing everything possible to avert another industrial action. On his part, the association's president told Gbajabiamila that he is confident that their demands will be met within the 4-week grace period given before they embark on another strike.
I think we made some progress. We made some headway. We've been talking. This is not a first. We've been talking. The chairman is here of the health committee, and he's been briefing us. And that is what has led us to today, to the suspension of the strike for 4 weeks. And I believe that before the 4 weeks is up, we'll be able to cement, so to speak, the deal. There's a memorandum of action signed between the resident doctors and government, and ours is we'll go between. and we'll make sure that that is followed as best as we can. You understand the importance of these guys, so we can't afford to have them lay down their tools.
The Honorable Speaker coming to our NAD Secretariat, we have been able to achieve some more commitments in response to why we called off the strike. As it stands, most of the House officers are getting paid their salaries, and the ones left are those that had some bank failures and are being treated on, as we speak. As it stands, the members on the Gift Mix platform are being investigated, and payments should start from tomorrow, which I'm aware. Payment starts from tomorrow, then enrollment into the ISP's platform should be before the month ending.
The National Assembly has adjourned plenary proceedings following the demise of 27 lawmakers at the House of Representatives during the Easter break. Until their death, Honorable Haruna Maitala represented Bassa Jos North Federal Constituency of Plateau State and Suleiman Leary from Leary Constituency of Kaduna State. The Senate, however, adjourned plenary till the next legislative day, while the Green Chamber extended its adjournment to next week, Tuesday. The Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, while describing their deaths as unfortunate, prayed for the repose of their souls. The Nigerian Air Force, NAF, has reiterated its commitment towards the fight against insurgency, saying it will work in unity with other arms of the military, the Nigerian Army, and the Nigerian Navy. The Public Relations Officer, PRO of NAF, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, said this during an inspection tour of the NAF Logistics Command Ikeja, Lagos State. It said that the new Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, alongside other Chiefs of Staff, were already in the synergy to topple the activities of insurgency in the country. According to him, the Air Force is providing air cover and close air support. The Army, with its troops on the ground, and the Navy is providing the needed might to guide our waters and coastal regions. Gapquet said that part of the inspection tour was to ascertain the conditions of the facilities at the command and to determine those that needed to be improved upon or required total overhauling. Still listening to the 1 p.m. news on Splash 105.5 FM, your integrity station. Still ahead, President Biden set to withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan by September 11. In sports, National Festival rounds off amidst unrest. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll bring you details of this and more. Don't go away.
Take a break from studying and let's catch you up on all that's happening in the world of teenagers.
You're good. You like Stella's your score?
785.
Oh, nice.
I would like to become a robotics engineer in the future. I was inspired by Elon Musk.
Orúkọ mi ni arábìnrin Ọláyẹmí. Mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ láti máa gbé àṣà àti ìṣe wa lárugẹ.
The bad.
When you use cream, your hands will be black, your face will be light.
A friend of mine posted something on Instagram and I was like, gosh, what's this? Why not me?
And sometimes the ugly.
I take very sharp alcohol. I take Emzoline. I take codeine.
He came to our parents were not around. Then he started touching me and I was young, so I really didn't do anything.
And the best part, we won't judge you.
So let's get talking about matters that affect teenagers only on Say It Out Loud. Now Fridays by 3:30 p.m.
Thanks for being there. We head to the foreign now, where the United States President Joe Biden will withdraw all United States troops from Afghanistan before this year's 20th anniversary of the September 11 attacks, finally ending America's longest war despite mounting fears of a Taliban victory. The drawdown delays only by around 5 months an agreement with the Taliban by former President Donald Trump to pull troops, amid a growing consensus in Washington that little more can be achieved. The decision came as Turkey announced an international peace conference on Afghanistan in hopes of reaching an agreement that brings stability to a nation battered by nearly 40 years of war. Well, the Taliban, newly emboldened, said they would boycott the conference. The resignation of a police chief and of an officer who shot dead a black motorist in Minnesota have failed to end unrest over Sunday's killing. Chief Tim Gannon and Officer Kim Porter quit the Brooklyn Center Force on Tuesday. The pair said she shot Dunte Wright accidentally, having mistakenly drawn a gun instead of a taser. Despite the resignation, fresh clashes between police and protesters erupted for a third night. The death happened in a suburb of Minneapolis, a city already on the edge amid the trial of an ex-police officer accused of murdering George Floyd. Finally, from the ever-exciting world of sports, the 20th edition of the National Sports Festival wraps up today in the Benin City, Edo State capital, amidst reports of unrest and violence in some events. The festival, which suffered setbacks due to the coronavirus pandemic and other issues, was a combination of pleasant and unpleasant moments. Blessing for Woe has to report.
7 days into the 20th National Sports Festival in Benin, Edo State, news broke of the plan by the local organizing committee to shut down the games owing to paucity of funds. It took the intervention of the federal government to ensure that the hopes of hundreds of athletes were not dashed. And now, the gloomy period that greeted the news of a potential cancellation has disappeared, with the athletes showing up and showing out in their respective events with performances that will be remembered for a long time. One of such performances was recorded in gymnastics, where 10-year-old Stephanie Onusurika won 4 medals, 1 gold, 2 silver, 1 bronze, in a dazzling performance for Team Anambra. In swimming, there arose the question of why Nigeria has relegated swimming to the background when there were many talents waiting to be discovered and pushed to higher heights. Team Delta, Bayelsa and Edo State dominated the medals table in swimming with a combined total of 102 medals. Timi Pamiri Akiefa of Delta contributed 10 medals to her team's 38, while the Gabi sisters from Bayelsa stole the headlines with a combined 23 medals from the 35 Bayelsa amassed. In athletics, Grace Nwokocha announced herself and her title credentials as one of the finest sprinters in the country as she rode to a lifetime best in both 100 and 200 meters to seal Olympic qualification for both events. Former Big Brother Naija housemate Mike Edwards in Rivers Colors was stunned in men's high jump final by David Aya of Delta State. Team Oyo overcame a sluggish start to smash a record of 16 gold medals at the Games. This include gold medals from events like judo, karate, ayo olokpon, kung fu, dart, chess, amongst others. Team Oyo's Sarah Ochiba, who secured gold in karate in a chat with Splash FM, said improving from silver in 2018 to gold in 2021 was a huge statement for her. Ochiba disclosed that the frequent postponement that greeted the games last year was discouraging, but happy she was able to put all that aside to get a podium finish.
It makes me feel happy and good. Hard work really pays, It's something I've really longed for. It's a big challenge because when you win a silver, they tell you can't go below silver, you have to go win the gold. And then trying to, be on top of the ranking is something I've always wished for. The postponement at the festival was really, really affecting me because I'm a student, you have to do exam, leave schools for some times, and then go and train. And they tell you it has been postponed to come back again. So you were going up peak and coming down peak. And peak is something that once you get to peak, you're good to go. But then again, at another point, it drops again. So it was really demoralizing me. But then I never had the choice. I just had to just push. I did not really believe it was going to hold on until I got to the mat when my weight was fighting. Because I could believe when they postponed it like a day to the festival. Well, so what can they not do? So so when I got to that mat and I competed and I won, I knew that, okay, the festival was real.
As at the time of filing this report, Oyo has amassed a total of 81 medals, comprising of 27 gold, 21 silver, and 33 bronze medals to climb up to 5th on the medals table behind Delta, Edo, Bayelsa, and Rivers State. While there were good moments to remember at the 20th National Sports Festival, there were also unsavory moments. In swimming, Dino Ebarakumo of Bayelsa was disqualified and stripped of medals won after protests from Rivers. Dino switched allegiance to Bayelsa from Rivers at the Games without proper documentation. At the Uniben Sports Complex, violence marred the women's football final between Edo State and Lagos State. Pandemonium was also reported in Dembe event, while violence broke out twice in boxing at the Oba Akenzo Museum on day 13 of the Games. As the Games comes to an end today, and in spite of the ugly incidences reported, the athletes who have been starved of competition and rendered jobless for almost a year owing to the COVID-19 pandemic will be glad they were able to suit up once again doing what they love as they look forward to other major events coming up later in the year. From Benin City, Edo State, Blessing for Wowe reporting.
Right, that was Blessing Forward from the 20th edition of the National Sports Festival. And just before we go on the news, here's a recap of the headlines. We brought you details that the northern governors have decried killing of army personnel in Benue, and that the Nigerian Air Force has reiterated its commitment towards fights against insurgency. On the foreign scene, we brought you reports that President Biden is set to withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan come September 11. And the National Sports Festival has rounded off amidst unrest. For more details on the news, please visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now you can download Splash FM mobile app on iOS, BlackBerry World, and Google Play Store to listen live, get news update, opinion poll. You can also report an event live to us through the iReport feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned, search for Splash FM 1055, then you click to download. We've now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawowo, as assisted by Abidemi Kajogbola. I am Temitope Omole, wishing you a good afternoon and thanking you for listening.
Quick, charge at 240.
Hot news.